for now.
Yeah, this is Brad. Sorry to cut you off, Chair Morgan. Yeah, the only reason that we had to do a special meeting was because the Brown Act requires a posting of the notice to be done within 72 hours for a regular meeting. And we noticed that there was a mistake with the agenda that we had to get fixed, or else we couldn't have the meeting at all. So a special meeting allowed us to post the notice within 24 hours, but the public still had the same amount of notice because the original notice was posted within 72 hours. It's just that we had to cancel that one and post this one in replacement, but we couldn't simply amend the original.
Oh, I get it. So it's just a procedural thing so you can continue the meeting.
Correct. We couldn't amend the notice. That wasn't allowed by law.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
That was a major thing, just one digit. Okay, it is 6 p.m. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, it is 6 p.m., 6:01. We'll call a special meeting of the Sacramento Housing and Redevelopment Commission to order. Because the meetings are currently being held remotely, options for comment include email public comments at shra.org. And they will be read into the recording during the meeting. Comments may also be made by telephone. Dial 888-970-1444 to comment during the citizens comment agenda. Please call after the roll call. And to comment on a specific agenda item, please call at the beginning of that agenda item. We request that all commissioners and staff participants keep their microphones muted unless they are speaking. And due to using Zoom, we'll be using the application and looking for hands up in order to call on people. With that, open all mics and roll call, please.
Amanfor,
Present.
Boyd,
Here.
Morgan,
Here.
Nunley,
Oh,
Ross,
here.
Schumacher Hodge,
Here.
Stajabu,
Here.
Starks, Wu,
Here.
you have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Okay, items 5 and 6 will be will be taken together, I'm sorry. Any other changes to the agenda?
No.
Seeing none, the agenda is set. First item is citizens' comments. Anyone interested in public comments may do so by emailing public comments at shra.org. For items not on the agenda, you may dial now 888-970-1444. Has there been any comments received or phone calls yet?
None at this time.
All right, thank you. With that, we'll go to the minutes. Is there any adjustments, improvements to the minutes from our last meeting? Seeing none, the minutes are approved as submitted. We have 2 items on consent tonight. AB 361 Brown Act remote meetings during the state emergency. Number 2 is the authorization to submit state emergencies grant program 2021 application to the California Department of Housing and Community Development and amend the Sacramento Housing and Redevelopment Agency budget. I am open for a motion to pass consent?
So move.
Motion by Wu, second by Nunley.
Nunley.
Roll call, please.
Amanfor,
Aye.
Boyd,
Aye.
Morgan,
Aye.
Nunley? Nunley? Yeah, okay.
She's saying yes. her
Ross?
mic is-
Aye.
Schumacher Hodge,
Aye.
Stajabu,
Aye.
Starks,
Yes, I'm sorry I'm late. I'm here, and yes to everything.
Wu,
Aye.
the motion carries.
All right, thank you. The next item be business item 3, Vista Nueva project, approval of application for home key funds and conditional loan and grant commitment.
Christine Weikert's going to do the presentation.
Good evening, Christine Weichert from Development Finance. And last month, the state published a notice of funding availability for local entities to apply for the Home Key funding program to convert motels and other non-residential structures into permanent supportive housing for homeless. SHRA wishes to partner with Jamboree Housing on a motel conversion in North Natomas. And we want to submit a home key application and enter into funding agreements for the project. The Staybridge Suite Hotel was constructed in 2007, and after converting it to housing, it'll be renamed Vista Nueva, and it will serve homeless families with at least one child. There are currently 117 studio, 1-bedroom, and 2-bedroom units with kitchenettes. 10 of the units will be used for transitional housing, while 106 units for permanent supportive housing for homeless, and 1 will be for a manager's unit. All units will be restricted to homeless families earning 30% of area median income or less, and the permanent housing units will all have project-based vouchers. Minor rehabilitation will include renovations to the interior units, offices, and common areas, and amenities will include 24-hour desk coverage, security, a pool, picnic area, multi-purpose room, playground equipment, and even a pet area. Vista Nueva proposed property management company is Domus, and the Housing with Heart will provide on-site resident services such as after-school programs and 4.5 case management staff. Additionally, there'll be 15 units restricted to Mental Health Services Act funding or MHSA funding, and supportive services will be provided directly by the County Department of Human Assistance for those units. In addition to home key and MHSA funding, SHRA will provide a $5.8 million loan and a $3.1 million emergency solutions grant for the rehabilitation and operation of the transitional units. If home key funds are awarded, occupancy could occur as early as March of next year. And in closing, staff's recommend approval of the Vista Nueva project, and we're available to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, thank you very much. Just a reminder to commissioners, your camera should be on at all times possible during the meeting. So I see Cecile has her hand up, and then Marisha.
Okay, can everyone hear me this time?
Yes.
Oh, good. I just wanted to be sure. I did have 2 questions. I noticed that this is in Natomas, if I'm not mistaken, is what it said.
That's correct.
And is it, I guess, is it east or north of the 80? I'm trying to imagine this area. I'm looking at the site map, and so I'm not so sure where it is. Is it east or north of the 80 or?
It's north of 80.
North of 80.
It's a pretty large retail area. There's Walgreens and Target.
It's close to the Target in North Natomas, down the street from the Best Buy.
Okay. The one thing that I wondered about that, and you have to forgive my ignorance, so maybe you can enlighten me, is there a lot of homeless in that area? Because when I think of the majority of the homeless, I'm thinking of downtown, midtown, those types of areas. So I was kind of curious about this location. Is this location and the surrounding areas known for being an area where homeless are situated?
I mean, there are some in near the freeway areas, but I think more importantly, this is an ideal location for homeless families because we know the school district in the area really wants to contribute and help with this development and these residents as much as possible. There's going to be a lot of services. They can walk to the amenities we just talked about. There'll be job opportunities in that area. So we really think it's an ideal area for families.
Okay, so I'm assuming that the homeless that you are going to be looking for would be those in that area. You're not trying to relocate them necessarily from downtown or midtown over to this area, I guess.
One of the things that we find, especially with homeless families, is that they don't necessarily congregate in one area. Many of them live in their cars. They move around a lot, and they really do hide, so that they can stay safe. So we know, though, that there are several hundred families that fall into this particular category that we will be reaching out to and really welcoming into this particular shelter. So not like our other shelters that are really trying to deal with the homeless situation that's immediately adjacent. We're really trying to deal with the overall problem throughout the city and the county of Sacramento.
Okay, thank you for that. I was just wondering because I had that question in my head. It's like, well, are we going to be relocating? And I understand what you're saying. They are trying to hide, especially if they have young children, because that for safety purposes, they want to keep the kids as safe as possible. The only other thing that I had, and I noticed it on this one as well as the next one, and you'll again forgive me. Under project financing on the actual item itself, one of the things that was it's just a little confusing for me. It's not that there's anything wrong. Under project financing, when I think project financing, I'm thinking of the whole project. But then the last sentence kind of clarified it for me. It says a summary of SHRA financing is provided in the following table. Well, when you look at the title of that paragraph, it says project financing. That's not all the financing. That financing that's in that table is just SHRA. So when I was reading the background and some of the other, and it talked about a $30 million loan, and then I get to this and I'm going, what happened to the $30 million? It was a little, it just threw me a little bit. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with it, and you guys did a fantastic job. It's just the title doesn't quite match. It kind of threw me. And if I wanted to see all of the financing, then I had to go to the appendix.
You're correct. It's on the entire financing is the whole 40 million, the breakdown that is what is that attachment 4, I believe. So
yeah,
I understand. Thank you for letting us know. That was a little confusing.
All right, thank you. That's all my questions.
All right, thank you. Marisha Schumacher-Hodge.
Yes, I actually wanted to kind of follow on a question about like who's eligible or the transition to this type of housing, because I live close to like W and 9th Streets, so like where the safe ground is, and I know there's a lot of programming going on there to help people, but would they be eligible for these home key like housing units, or is that completely separate? Is there a pipeline for that?
Right. So this program, since it's a state program, they're requiring that referrals come through one entity. It's called the Continuum of Care. In Sacramento, that's Sacramento Steps Forward. There are sort of homeless coordinator for different funding sources they receive for operating of homeless and other supportive services. But they work with service providers throughout the city and county of Sacramento. And that's how they develop their list. So they may be working with one service provider, let's say, like you said, over by WX, that they will get on the list with Sacramento Steps Forward, and then they could be referred if they have a family. Again, this one is for families, so not everyone's going to be able to refer there. You have to have children, but yes, there'll be a way for lots of people to get on the list and be referred over.
Thank you.
All right, next, Commissioner Amenfor.
Yes, hi. I just have a question. As far as the location of the place, I believe Councilmember Ashby is working on a program or an agenda where there'll be similar program within that area where a hotel would provide similar program within that area. Is it close to that same vicinity?
Actually, this is the project. We've been
That's
working.
it, right?
Yeah, we've been working really closely with her on this throughout it. She's been so supportive and we really appreciate
Okay.
her work, but this is it.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I just want to make sure that either it was or this is an additional program that's right next to the same location. Thank you for clarifying.
All right. Any other questions? Is there any public comment on this item, Lara?
None at this time.
Okay. We'll take a motion then and a second.
I move.
I
Moved
second.
by Nunley, second by Amanfor?
Yes.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Amanfor,
Aye.
Boyd,
Aye.
Morgan,
Aye.
Nunley,
Aye.
Ross,
Aye.
Schumacher Hodge,
Aye.
Stajabu,
Unmute.
Commissioner Stajabu,
Working on it. Okay.
No, you're
Aye.
good.
Aye.
And I'm good, Laura.
all right. Commissioner Wu,
Aye.
the motion carries.
All right, thank you. Item number 4 is the 2022 Central Sacramento Studio Project. Approval of application for home key funds and conditional loan and grant commitment.
Good evening again, Christine Weichert. With this report, we'd also like to, again, work with an affordable housing developer, this time Danco, to submit a home key application and enter into funding agreements to convert the Best Western Motel, known as Sutter House, which is located at 12th and 8th Streets, into permanent supportive housing. Again, this is another home key application. The project will be developed by Home Key Communities, as I said. They're an affordable housing developer who has constructed affordable housing and multifamily developments throughout California, including several permanent supportive housing developments, but this will be their first project in Sacramento. Central Sacramento Studios, the name for the motel after it's converted to housing, will provide 92 permanent supportive homeless housing studios, plus 1 manager's unit. Each unit will include newly installed kitchenettes, as there are no kitchens in the rooms at this time. The units will be restricted to households earning 30% or less of area median income, and Danco anticipates applying to SHRA for project-based vouchers next year after the kitchens are installed. Rehab and renovations to the interior units, offices, and common areas will also take place, and amenities will include security, 24-hour desk coverage, fitness center, pool, and sports and pet areas. The project will be managed by Danco Property Management. They currently manage Danco's permanent supportive housing developments, including their home key funded projects in Oakland. And Live Steps will provide 15 hours of weekly on-site resident services and 2 case managers. Additionally, there'll be 15 units restricted to Mental Health Services Act funding, or MHSA, and those services will be supportive services will be provided by the county. In addition to home key and MHSA, financing includes an SHRA loan of $4 million and a $1.2 million operating funds. If home key funds are awarded, occupancy could occur as early as the summer of next year, probably early summer. That's because the kitchenettes need to be installed, so a little bit more time is needed for rehabilitation for this project. Sorry. In closing, staff is recommending approval of the Central Sacramento Studios project, and staff's available to answer any questions you have.
Don't get your tongue pull up. Anyway, so are you going to be overseeing this project or seeing over it?
Both. We look down from our office. Michelle has a great view of this project from her office window.
Sure. Okay, questions of commissioners. I see Cecile has her hand up. Go ahead.
Okay, the same comment on this one as for the last one with the project financing paragraph. It's the same kind of issue. But moving on from that, and I forgot to ask this one, so forgive me. I noticed that the units on this one, they're all studio, 1 bath. So they're 424 square feet. On the previous one, I noticed that everybody had to have at least 1 child. And you had some that were studio at 400 square feet, some that were 1 bedroom at 500, 2 at 788. What was the determination, or how does it get determined who goes into the studio versus the 1 or the 2 bedroom? Just out of curiosity.
Well, the first project, Vista Nueva, does have a lot of 1 and 2 bedrooms. It is about half of it is studio and the other half is 1 and 2 bedrooms. The 1 and 2 bedrooms obviously make it a good match for families, whereas this project only has studios. The studios at the first project, we do imagine that you can't have more than 2 people in a studio, so it would probably be a parent and a child. With the project, the Central Sacramento Studios, it's probably going to be individuals. We don't imagine, this is not a site that we anticipate seeing children at all. This is just, individual homeless people or couples if they present themselves as a couple and want to live in a studio. But it was really the size of the other project that really led us to think it would be a good family project. I mean, the size being the number of bedrooms.
Okay, and the assignment of going up to the 1 or 2 would be based on family size, I'm assuming. Okay, got it. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? Seeing none, is there any public comment on this, Laura?
There's no public comment.
All right. I'll accept a motion and a second.
I make a motion.
I second.
Motion by Nunley and second by Stajabu. Roll call, please.
Amanfor,
Aye.
Boyd,
Aye.
Morgan,
Aye.
Nunley,
Aye.
Ross,
Aye.
Schumacher Hodge. Schumacher Hodge,
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me? Okay.
Stajabu,
Aye.
Starks,
Yes.
Wu.
Yes.
The motion carries.
All right, thank you. Next item is a public hearing. The approval of and this would be items 5 and 6 heard together. Approval of the 2022 one-year action plan for the Community Development Block Grant, CBG, Home Investment Partnership Program Home American Rescue Plan, ARP, Emergency Solutions Grant, ESG, and Housing Opportunities for Persons with AIDS, HOPWA, funded projects and programs amended prior years, action plans amended to the Sacramento Housing and Redevelopment Agency, SHRA, budget, amendment to the Citizens Participation Plan, authorization for SHRA to administer lead-based paint hazard control grant funds and other related actions, city and county reports. The public hearing is now open.
Good evening, Celia Iniguez, Program Manager in the Federal Programs Division. As Chair Morgan said, sorry, it's been a long day, talked about the extensive actions required for this for these 2 items. As you recall, presented a workshop several weeks ago just to provide an overview of our federal programs and how they are administered here through SHRA. We have a consolidated plan that is approved every 5 years that is required by HUD to provide us guiding principles and goals for those 4 federal entitlement programs that includes the Community Development Block Grant, or CDBG, Home Partnership Program, which is for affordable housing, the Emergency Solutions Grant to address homelessness and prevention of homelessness, and housing opportunities for persons with AIDS. So as I said, every 5 years, we have to prepare an overall plan with goals and objectives. And then every year, we present a list, program of projects and programs to be funded with those various funding activities. And we do one each for this evening. I'm going to make my short presentation, provide highlights of some of the accomplishments that we've completed, projects that we've completed in 2021, and the projects and programs we'll be funding in 2022. Also included is amendments to the citizen participation plan. All of these amendments are really administrative, sort of cleaning up and making them more readable and more accessible. So to start with the accomplishments in 2021, we remediated a residential site in the Alkali Flat neighborhood at 1224 D Street. There was lead contamination in preparation for releasing a future request for proposals for that site. We've also funded improvements to the Robertson Community Center, the renovation of the field, and bicycle access along the corridor. Also funded the signals in north and south of the Sim Center Community Center to improve the pedestrian and bicycle access. Safety improvements were really needed there. And then finally completed is the Susan B. Anthony School Park improvements. This site is actually owned and managed by the school district, by Sacramento City Unified School District, but there are much needed park amenities for the neighborhood, and so they were funded. In the county, we are continuing to fund projects that are not yet completed, but require significant investment from both the county and other agencies. These include the Watt Avenue and Arden Way Complete Streets projects. We're providing match to SACOG grants, the Sacramento Area Council of Government grant funding. And these funds have helped to with design and right-of-way acquisition for those two projects. The county's also completed the third phase of Florin streetlights, completed the renovation of the Bing Kong Tong in Isleton for a museum. And we've also completed improvements to Rosemont Park and Kennedy Park. We continue to provide services for both the city and the county, so these as well as minor repair. And then you can see the total number of shelter bed nights CDBG and ESG has funded in the year. For the city, we have lots of projects, which is great for the city. We have one public works project, which are signals on Northgate Boulevard at the northern end. And this will pay for construction of 2 new signals. Then the rest are park renovation projects, and which you can see the list, we're paying funding both design and construction. And then what really is important, I think, are the last 2, which are 2 new parks. So in District 6, the 21st Street median, it is currently a median from 21st between Stockton and 78th. And this would result in a new master plan that would just as you can see that we have lots of park projects in 2023. Most likely we'll have a lot more public works projects, street projects. We work with the city extensively on trying to balance public works and parks projects. But this year it was really, they didn't have a lot of transportation projects. So we anticipate in the following year that it will be much more public works oriented. For the county, we have the 44th Street bicycle and pedestrian improvements. This is immediately adjacent to the Cornerstone project, which is a property that SHRA RFP'd and will result in over 100 units, a multifamily project and 18 new single-family homes developed by Habitat for Humanity. And so immediately adjacent, or in 44th Street is right along 99, and there is a pedestrian and bicycle overpass. And so these improvements would improve that access, because it's not the most sightly and accessible for pedestrians, so as bicycles. So this is much needed improvements over that overpass over 99. We're also continuing to fund Arden Way. This will go towards now construction. We'll provide funding for Gibson Ranch, continued need for ADA improvements at that park. Funding for, as an emergency shelter. All right. And then we will also continue to fund a variety of our programs, but I just wanted to highlight two. One is the lead abatement program. We received $2 million from HUD. Very excited about this. And so it will operate in both the city and the county. And so CDBG will serve as the match, one-time allocation of $100,000 from each jurisdiction to provide grant funding to both single-family and multifamily projects that need lead abatement. So we're very excited about that new program. And then the second is the Home American Rescue Plan. So we received several millions for both the city and the county. And it requires, this new funding source requires an action plan amendment. And so that is part of this action plan, and the two projects that you just recommended for approval will receive some of these funds. So in order to actually technically allocate it, we need to include it in our action plan. So that concludes my presentation, and I'm available for any questions.
All right, very good. Items, questions of commissioners. Barry, you're up first.
Thank you, Chair. I do have to staff just two questions in regards to 21st, I believe that's 21st Avenue, the median, turning a median into a park. Just well, curiosity, and I want to know what are the dimensions of that median that's going to be turned into a park?
Boy, it was a recent project. I'm just going to go eyeballing it. It is, I'm going to say it's probably
50 feet
40,
wide?
yeah, something 40, 50 feet, something like that. And so it is very wide. I would say something similar to an Elmhurst. There's a similar median, which has trees, and people utilize it. And this is an opportunity in the area that doesn't have as much park space as the community would like, that this is an opportunity to convert that into park space versus just sort of your green open space that isn't really usable.
Thank you. Well, only because my guesstimation is pretty crappy, trying to figure out what 50 feet looks like. If you were saying, if you're familiar, going what is that, the Coloma Community Center on, what is that, X Street? The size of their medians, is that 50 feet as what you're eyeballing, or is
Yeah,
it wider than those medians?
I think it's about that, or maybe a little wider.
It would be wider.
Okay.
I'm familiar with both.
Just, I'm sorry, Chair.
I'm familiar with both those locations. I believe 21st is wider than 46th.
Oh, that's great to hear. Just halfway bringing that out, just for those who are listening and watching and who might think, wait a minute, changing a median into a park, good grief. But just so they could hear the dimensions of how actually wide that is and giving reference point. And the second thing, the additional ADA requirements out at Gibson Ranch, what are the additional build for the ADA at Gibson Ranch?
So currently, so in 2021, we are funding a restroom. So that's for part of the reason I say additional, but those would include in existing parks, there have often do not meet current standards. So this would upgrade parking areas, the water fountains, picnic areas, walkways. A lot of times the grade may be too steep. And so all of that's what this funding would go to, those types of improvements.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you, Chair.
You're welcome. Martin Ross, you're next.
Hey, thank you. Commissioner Boyd, I thought you were answering the question that I wanted to answer. I'm thinking a median into a park. How could that be? But that's a good thing. I'll start with that since I commented on that. So how does that work? Are there fences, safety barriers? I mean, if there's cars going all around it, how are children and citizens, well, they're citizens too, but how are people kept safe when that's done? I guess one day I take a look at one of those, but I was just curious.
That's an excellent question. And that will be determined through the master plan process. So what the process which the city goes through is a very community-driven process to determine what the amenities are that the community wants. And then that will drive determining, obviously probably can't do a ball field, but whatever those amenities would be, then they would also look at it from a safety perspective and make sure that if the fence is needed or whatever sorts of barriers and things like that would be needed, that would be identified and included in the master plan that would be then adopted by the city council.
Okay. Lead abatement. So that's really good. That's important. How are the homes already identified or?
No, they're not. So it would be paired with we have the existing home repair program. And then we also work very closely with Rebuilding Together, who does accessibility and minor repair. And so we will work with them to get the word out and identify those, but also as they are working with a family, that they would evaluate that home at that time and let them know that that program will be available. So kind of twofold, our existing partners get out the word and then through our existing programs.
Okay. So do the funds have to be expended within the CDBG, so that's a year, right?
So the program is over 3 years, and the CDBG, we have a lot longer, and it should be fine. And technically we have 7 years to use CDBG, so this should be fine.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say it may be hard to do a lead assessment or identification in a year. Complete streets. I know you presented last time. What does that mean?
So this is sort of the new terminology coming out of the transportation is really to, for many years, and most of our streets were auto-oriented. And didn't really support both pedestrians and bicycles. And so complete streets really means given equal priority, as well as that includes safety and room for all of those three users, the auto, the bicyclist, and the pedestrian. So complete streets really means making sure that that street cross-section has components for all three, and they all have room and they all are safe.
That's a great thing. Thank you. Flooring streetlights. So is that a public works project or?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, okay. Thank you. That's all for me.
Any other questions? Yes, Barry, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. Just a quick follow-up on the, I didn't get the address on the, or the area of where the floor and street lights are coming up. Could you expound on that?
So those were completed. This is in the county. So the area between Stockton, 53rd, Biggs, Palmer, and Fleming.
So that is all going east on Florin Road, east of Stockton Boulevard on Florin Road, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
While we're tearing complete streets apart, what area is the Arden Way complete streets going to cover?
Don't have these committed to memory, but
And if I live within 500 feet of that, would it be a conflict of interest to vote on it?
let's see. So Arden Way between Watt and Howe.
So if I live within 500 feet of it, is it a conflict of interest to vote on it?
This is Brad. No, unless you have a financial interest or a potential financial interest in the development of it or some ancillary business that may come from it. But no, living near it, no.
I'm highly interested in the repairing of those sidewalks over there. So I use them. Okay. So I'll look forward to that money being well spent. So is there any public comment on this, Lara?
Yes, I have a caller.
Okay, let's hear them.
Okay, it'll take just a few seconds to transfer them into the meeting. Pardon.
Okay, thank you very much. Just a reminder to commissioners, your camera should be on at all times possible during the meeting. So I see Cecile has her hand up and then Marisha. Okay, caller, go ahead with your question.
Yes. Okay. I just wanted to be. Hello?
Yes.
Hi, how's it going? Hi, so my question was, well, first of all, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Isidore Montoya. I currently stay in Midtown Sacramento. I stay off of in between T and 26th Street. Very beautiful neighborhood. I have been helped with by the SHRA program 1 and 2. I'm 29 years old. Like I said, I have 2 children. I was currently in the union, but work had drastically slowed down, and I'm currently looking for employment every day. But my question was, would you guys still, even though you guys already helped me for 1 and 2 during the SHRA program, would you guys, after you guys get to everybody, would you guys be able to help me a 3rd time for maybe the remaining months to help me catch back up?
So that would be an item to talk to staff about, and it's not on the current item we're discussing. Lyra, can you redirect?
Not on the current item, but maybe if the caller, Lyra, if you could chat with him, we can provide him with the information.
Sure.
It's a
15,
yeah.
I have his contact information.
Okay, so can we reach out to you and then let you know exactly what you need to do from here?
Of course, yes. No,
Okay.
No worries. And I apologize for for not, being on topic. I was running late to the meeting, so I started from the beginning, and I always watch the meetings live. So thank you, though. I appreciate it.
Okay, yes, we'll chat with you and give you all the information that you need.
And I appreciate the fact you're out of sync. That's okay. I understand that. So if there's no other questions regarding this item, I will open it for a vote.
I make a motion to approve it.
Can I second it? Motion by Nunley and second by Morgan. I want those sidewalks.
Pardon me. All right. So, Amanfor,
Aye.
Boyd,
I don't know about those sidewalks. Just kidding. Aye.
Morgan,
Aye.
Ross,
Aye.
Schumacher Hodge,
Aye.
Stajabu,
Aye.
Starks.
Yes. Did you forget Cecile?
Oh, no, her name is in a strange place, but I have not forgotten about her. Wu,
Aye.
Nunley.
Aye.
Motion carries.
We'll have to talk about these roaming names. So I'm going to drop the ball here. Give me just a second. Change the page here. So that takes us to that closed the public hearing. And we'll go to item number 7, business discussion, the 2022 change in meeting time of the Sacramento Housing and Redevelopment Commission.
Good evening, Chair Morgan and members of the Commission. Jim Shields, Deputy Executive Director for Administration. Before you tonight is a request for the Commission to review and approve changing future meeting times of the Commission meetings from 6 p.m. to 4 p.m. The agency is one of the few public entities that has continued to have most of their staff continue to report to work every day during the past year and a half during the pandemic. This has allowed the agency to continue to work and support both the public and our residents without interruption. At the same time, due to changing demands in the larger Sacramento community, SHRA staff must also continue to stay late into the evening to attend other meetings and events all throughout the week. As you know, we currently meet at 6 p.m. and these meetings are also broadcast live on YouTube. And the public is able to stream the meetings and or watch the meetings archived. Changing the meeting times would be a tremendous help in relieving the stress and increased evening engagements, while also safeguarding and increasing public access. The time we are proposing is consistent with the county and the city's daytime meetings. The county meets at 9:30 and the city meets at 2 p.m. I want to thank you for your consideration, and that concludes my presentation. Thank you very much.
All right, questions, comments of commissioners, and we will start with Commissioner Nunley.
Thank you very much. My one question with this, normally I understand that staff is having to stay late, and that is a huge burden at times on staff because they can't go to other functions, whether it's family or anything else. However, I am a little concerned about this because especially in light of just the previous caller, if we're starting earlier, a lot of people don't get off work until 5. And sometimes they're rushing to do other things to try to call in or make comments. And my concern is, are we hindering access to these public meetings by having them at 4 instead of when a number of people get off at 5 and then they have time to get home and settle things and be able to interact with the meeting at 6 o'clock.
So, I mean, I can respond to that. One of the things that we do see is that both the county, their meetings are held either at 9:30 a.m. or sometimes 2. Very rarely will there be a night meeting, and they have an extensive amount of public engagement. The city has meetings at 2 o'clock as well as at 5 o'clock. And in addition to being in attendance at these meetings, the staff is required to present before the board, but also the city council. So there are certain times in the week where staff are here late, all night at a city council meeting, and then late all night here at a commission meeting. And really, the one thing that I really want to stress is how hard that they have been working. Where many people have had the opportunity to work from home. The people that you see at these meetings, the managers and the executives, they have not. They have been here consistently. They have worked late weekends, evenings. And I really am looking for an opportunity to provide some level of reducing the amount of stress that we really are experiencing and that we are still continuing to experience as a result of the pandemic. So this was one opportunity for me to really provide that kind of ability to get home before it's dark.
Yeah, and I do understand that it's a huge burden on staff. I have no disagreement with that at all. My concern is just, but from the public standpoint, how do they still interact? And that's my huge concern. And I don't know if there's other options like every other meeting. And I have seen some that will say, the first meeting of the month, it's at 4, the second meeting is, the later one or something like that. Because I can understand and I have no doubt you guys are working lots of hours and putting in lots of time. But my concern truly is for the community who we should be serving. And are we putting an extra burden or limiting their access where they don't have the opportunities?
Okay. On the other side of that argument is how often do we have people come to our meetings and emails available and the agenda is available on Friday. So I see that they have an opportunity to respond to us earlier if they want to than on there, but it's open debate. And
yeah, I would argue against that one as well, because just saying, oh, well, they had the opportunity to email a lot of times is not quite as effective as being in person. And I've seen that, as well as, every single time, every single meeting, you're right, the public's not going to be interested. It'll be that one event, like a sidewalk, that they're really interested in, and that's when they would want to talk. But
sure. Okay.
It's my opinion.
Sure. Commissioner Boyd, you're next.
Thank you, Chair. I'm gonna have to check around my house here and see if Commissioner Nunley has cameras, because it looks like she was reading off my tablet here. But I do echo almost all of what Commissioner Nunley had stated. Let me start by saying that we are here as commissioners in a position to advocate for the citizenry of the entire county of Sacramento. With that said, we are their voices, and we are here to look out for their best interests, and we are here to accommodate their schedule, not ours. That's just the up and down of it. With that said, I understand greatly in regards to long hours. I, for one, coming from the entertainment industry, we worked a 60-hour work week, which was a 40-hour norm work week outside of other industries, and then you add hours onto that. So it wasn't fun working 60 to 100 hours a week. That's in 5 days. I understand the wear downness of it, and I did that for 15 years. But anyway, going past that, to the executive director's statement of the county and both the city do have earlier meetings, and more recently than not, both have come into question in regards to why is the county having 9 o'clock meetings to where the majority of the citizens can't attend because it is at 9 a.m. And those who are in attendance at the county meetings at 9 a.m. are those corporate entities that are looking for the affirmative of whatever the agenda item is. Not all the time, but the majority of the time. Because yes, that's why I look like a zombie. I attend a lot of meetings. But with that said, the same way with city councils, scheduled for 2 p.m. and 5:30 p.m. In the last few meetings, city council meetings, it has come up in regards to pushing the city council meeting out to a later start for, again, to let your citizenry get home, get comfortable, and attend the public forum. To not belaboring my point, but with reducing the opportunity for individuals to get home, for those who are still having to go in. We are in a flex time now, which is an oddity, which will end, we all hope, sometime sooner than later, but it still will be several more months, if not maybe another year. It's a plague. It's not just like a cold and flu virus. This is a worldwide plague. So the advent of doing our meetings virtually is fantastic because folks can tune in quicker and from wherever they are. But at the same time, we are here to accommodate their schedule. And as Chair Morgan stated, we weren't getting a lot of people coming in to the SHRA chamber for the meetings prior, but we would have some folks, 80–90% actually were staff, but some folks would come in for their time of interest. But with that said, more people are aware now and have become public engaged in public affairs simply because they have been sitting at home. And so now they're able to look in front of them and find out, oh, I didn't know about this meeting, I didn't know about that commission, so forth, whatever. So the attention is paid a little bit more so now than it was prior to the pandemic situation that we're in now. So all that long-windedness to say, folks who are engaged, this is what we do. So we're engaged. So we go to meetings. We know what time they run and do our best to show up. But at the same time, being on this commission, my thoughts are to keep it at the same time. In fact, I thought, I was hoping that what was going to be asked, if we would want to move the start time out to 6:30 or 7 p.m., allowing, again, individuals to be home. I don't know the workings of SHRA and its staff requirements of how much staff has to be in attendance for each of these meetings. Obviously, it's at least 10, just simply to cover what we need to do. As Commissioner Nunley said, perhaps altering a start time, but I'm leery on that only because, again, starting earlier than what we are now, again, takes away from what this opportunity, this forum is for. So with that, I put Sam to sleep already, so I'll stop and thank you for your time. Thank you, Chair.
All right, Commissioner Ross.
That was funny. I concur with Commissioner Nunley's and Commissioner Boyd's comments. I also wanted to commend Mr. Montoya for attending the meeting. He said he listens to it all the time. There's always a movement for better governance, better accessibility to the citizenry. And I do understand. I understand, feelings about time, but this commission, I think, over all of them, we're talking about housing efforts and people that are just going through drama and trauma in their lives. They need to have accessibility to come and speak, should they want to come and speak. I believe also, even though I would love, because I've never met most of you all in person, I would love to be at the chamber at some point in time. Some time ago I mentioned maybe those meetings could be alternated between chamber and Zoom. But I have heard comments from folks with disabilities or people who work, like Mr. Montoya, if I have his name correctly, who say that because of having these types of meetings, particularly probably at the time that we have it, and through the media that we have it, there's lots of accessibility. There's more people that attend, maybe even more commissioners that attend. So I have hesitancy to move. Those are my comments.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Schumacher-Hash.
Yes, I agree with everyone. I don't want to reiterate a point that's been made, but I do want to say that potentially, I don't know if I'm the only, I don't believe I'm the only commissioner working normal work hours, but that could potentially impact my attendance and maybe others. And so I think it's like pros and cons of each. I totally understand, but we just got to figure out if, what's going to work for everybody.
Okay, thank you. And Commissioner Amanfor.
Yes, just to echo what Commissioner Schumacher said, I think it's important to know that a lot of the commissioners do have their own personal life, their own work, and most of the time, most people tend to work from 9 to 5 at least, the latest. But understand the concerns as far as, considering the city staff. Typically, in regards to the people who actually do attend some of this meeting, not the commissioners, if you look at the data itself, I try to justify reasonings based off of the data. Knowing the number of people who've actually called in or made any comments, I would definitely like to see that. If within the past year, if we've had a high number of people who've called in, then that's when it's like, okay, it makes sense to have it during this time. But if we don't, I mean, that's something that we should definitely think about. I understand that it'd be more, convenient to have this meeting during this time, but for the sake of the public itself, yes, it would be convenient, but for the sake of our own personal lifestyle, I think it's more so weighed on the flexibility of our work schedule. But with that being said, is it possible for us to recommend a different start time, of possibly even from 5 to 6? I think that would be a good wiggle room, or if even possible, maybe 4:30 to 5:30, at least within that range of 5 o'clock. As I've said, the general timeline for people closing business is usually 5 o'clock, I would suspect. So that would at least give even both us who work and the public enough time to actually be able to engage with us if that was the number one concern. But if anything, I think that might be a good solution for both sides. That's it.
All right, thank you. Stajabu, you're next. You're still muted.
I was going to suggest a hybrid type of structure that we can investigate, where we can accommodate everyone, and the staff could alternate being remote or being in person. Just off the top of my head, that's what I would suggest, that we investigate some other applications to the situation, because we do get very little interaction with the public when we're in person. And usually it's the same people who come in just to complain about the same things. And yeah, I think we need to consider it a little more, do a little more investigation. That's all.
Okay, thank
you. Yeah, let me chime in, since I guess Daryl, it's you and I have to chime in. I'm fine either way. I don't think access could be argued on either case. We all want as many people to come to these meetings as possible, but you know, if you get real and down and dirty with it, some of the folks that we're advocating for don't work. And therefore, they're the very ones who will be available during the day. So I don't know if you could argue one side or another in terms of what is access or not access. With that said, you know, our obvious first audience is people, everyday people who we're serving. And since we can't take, you know, since time is relative to, you know, on any given day, any given audience may be obliged to want to come during the day, in which, you know, they may argue, well, I have to fix dinner at this time and I can't give my time at this time because I'm doing dinner and a bunch of kids running, but during the day I could have. On the other hand, somebody could say, well, I work an 8 to 5 and then I can't do it. So I have a tendency to be in agreement with Dajabu in terms of, you know, that other audience. You know, there's staff and then there's us. And I don't think that we're going to, it's going to hurt our social justice credibility to consider all of those audiences and what might be good in terms of right and fair. So maybe it needs a little study, maybe it needs a hybrid, maybe it needs a, if we have a meeting that we really want to have at a certain time because of the target audience or the impact of the agendas that may, but again, you know, half dozen one and 6 on the other. You know, you could have people who really want to come during the day because as soon as kids get off work, their attention is there. So I'm happy either way on this sucker, but I think that we should all just kind of be, I don't know if we're all going to be together in terms of this issue, but just understanding to one another, I think is good enough. I'm happy either way, whatever the group decides.
All right. Daryl, you're the only one that hasn't spoken. Would you like to? Then we'll start all over again.
You know, I'm in concurrence with Sam. I can go either way. I believe that there's a number of people in the public who need to make an attempt to persuade us. I think that they can, for those infrequent times that they need to, maybe they can make arrangements for 5-10 minutes of their regular workday calling in. But I can go either way.
All right. We're going to circle back to Commissioner Nunley.
What I was going to suggest, just hearing all of the commissioners, I like Commissioners Dajabu's item, and if possible, I would like to make a motion that we maybe request this item to return to staff to look at some other options rather than just moving the start time to 4 p.m. So if I can make that motion that we request staff maybe look at other options.
Okay. Does somebody want to second that motion?
There might be a bit of unreadiness in that, if I could, Cecile.
We're not going to vote yet.
No, I understand. Just to look at other options, you know, giving staff kind of the maximum leeway, you know, for consideration might mean that staff decides, has the ability to think not just one move for one time. It could be a kind of a rotation So I just want to make sure that the motion gives the staff a maximum flexibility to consider some of the options. You know, I'm in agreement with what you're saying, but I just want to make sure that they have the maximum flexibility to bring back some options.
Okay, I didn't put any restrictions on what the staff could bring back. I just said the staff investigate. That was it. There's no restrictions. So that means pretty, as far as I understand it, that means pretty open.
Okay, so, you know, like one meeting might be on this time, another might be on this time as a way of rotating it. You know, or we may do a month of these continual meetings to see what kind of participation we hear from the audience. You know, maybe this is the time for the audience to be heard. And so over the next couple, maybe 2 or 3 meetings that we have, we could invite people to share their comment or to tell us their perspective, and let's hear from them, and whatever they decide is good. So, I mean, the staff there's a number of different things that they could do to come back.
Okay. I see Commissioner Manfor, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that I remember, I think Stajavo, you said that someone said that they might be able to work remotely. I'm not sure if that's possible, if that's an option for city staff, or if they're able to join these meetings to work remotely. So I was just curious if that's possible. Then that's something, like you guys said, let them come up with a plan and we can take a look at that.
We'd be happy to do that, but just to respond to that in terms of working remotely, the people that you see here are just the people kind of giving the presentations. There's a whole bunch of other people in terms of just the mechanics of setting up the Facebook Live, of setting up all of the technology, all of the things that you know, those are other, our IT staff. And no, we don't have that ability to work remotely. Someone's got to be here and run the meeting.
Thank you for clarifying that. I feel that that's very important to think about, because then we can definitely scratch that off as a possible option.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and the other thing I just want to add, I think that as you know, are, you know, what I'm listening and hearing you talk about, I think it's good for us to bring back the data. I think that decisions should be data driven. So we'd be happy to bring back a couple of options and take a look at the data of participation. Now, as you know, all of our items go on to the city or they go on to the county. So when they go to the county, normally those meetings are around 10 o'clock in the morning. And when they go to the city, we have our own meeting and it's at 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay.
Thank you.
I see Commissioner Ross has his hand up.
Yes. With respect to data collection, I think it would be interesting. I know there's newsletters that go out or come out. I take a look at them from all the different housing sites. Why not ask them? You know, see when they might want to have the meetings. My position is, you know, I agree with the viewpoint of other options, but I still stick with we're here to serve the citizens, and that's my position.
Okay, well, I'm going to throw one last dart into the ring. That's the way to word it. So I represent, most of the commissioners represent either a councilman or a supervisor. I represent the tenants in public housing, or maybe some of the voucher holders actually too, I guess. So I represent tenants as a whole, and many of the tenants who I've spoken to over the years have complained about the late start time for the commission, and I've worked many times with them to get their message carried some other way because they don't want to come out, especially after dark, when they're senior citizens. So a 4 o'clock appointment for them would improve the opportunity we're talking mostly for the senior population, the senior disabled population that does not want to be out at late at night. Families, as a general rule, for when they've got children, it's hard to get them involved in just about anything, including the resident meetings. So I'll toss that out there that way. So is it the desire of the commissioners as a whole to sort of put this off for a future meeting? Do we sort of have a consensus that way?
Yeah, let's kick the can.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Until
Without
they
taking
provide more data.
Yeah.
Without taking an official vote, the consensus appears to punt. Commissioner Boyd, you have your hand up.
Thank you, Chair. No, that was actually my thumbs up of in agreement to your.
Okay. Appreciate that. Okay, so without objection, we will table this item for now. And that will take us to the 2022 SHRA Budget Workshop, Development Department.
So as you know, we go through the process of having a kind of a detailed breakdown of each of the different departments. And you've had an opportunity to hear from public housing, housing choice voucher. So tonight it is development's turn. And we have Tyrone Roderick Williams, who is going to be doing the presentation.
And good evening, commissioners. I am honored to, let's see,
Are you ready?
Yes. I'd like to bring up our presentation. All of you all were emailed the presentation. It contains a lot of information. I'm going to be giving the highlights, and then we can answer any questions. But the development department has many different functions, and these functions are outlined here on our opening page. You see housing finance, federal programs.
Before you get started, Tyrone, I think maybe you need to get this presentation started. We're seeing the panel on the side still here.
Hold on just a second. Let's see. We can adjust that.
There we go.
There you go.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right. So we have housing finance, federal programs. Celia just gave you an overview of all of those. We'll be talking about Marisol Village, Sacramento's newest, greenest, mixed income neighborhood. But in addition to that, we oversee compliance monitoring, what that means, and portfolio management. Any project that we give funding to, we monitor it, in most cases for 55 years. And portfolio management, we also have a wide number of projects that we have in our portfolio. In addition to that, we have asset management, which looks at properties that were formerly owned and controlled by the housing authority that have been moved within an affiliate development group to access private dollars for the redevelopment of those properties, and then the Sacramento Promise Zone. So I'll quickly go through each one of these, and then we'll be able to answer any questions. But we've been busy for the last 2 years, and we'll start off with housing finance highlights. Our 2020 revenue is combined from funding from the county and from the city. In 2021, we had over $51.9 million in multifamily loans and $211 million in mortgage revenue bond issuance. And the projects that were funded are listed here. We also, as I shared, oversee the ordinances and administer funding on behalf of the city and the county. What we've got highlighted here is in the county through all of the programs that we administer. And these are programs that actually support or help finance the projects. We have over 6.3 million in the county, and in the city, 7.3 million. As we look forward to new projects, well, right now, we've got, in 2021, we completed 711 affordable units, and the projects that are listed are a part of those units. We also have units that are currently under construction, and they're listed here along with their unit numbers. So a total of 652 units are currently under construction, with not 392 of those units being homeless units. As we look forward to 2022, in the pipeline, we've got a total of 1,010 units currently in the pipeline. What that means is that there's some level of funding that's being allocated toward those projects with an expectation that they will go into construction in 2022. Of the 1,010 units, there are 235 homeless units included in that number. We're not only focusing on multifamily housing or housing the homeless, we're equally as concerned about home ownership opportunities. And we have a number of those programs that are currently underway. The Homebuyer and Mortgage Certificate Credit Program, that's what a MCC stands for. We've helped 38 families get into homes. In Del Paso Nuevo, that's our subdivision that we've been working on for the last 2 decades. We're nearing completion, but in 2020, there were 46 new homes sold and occupied, and in 2021 so far, there are 22 homes. And this is a project that provides housing, home ownership opportunities for people at 80% of the area median income, as well as market rate buyers as well. We also are partnering and have continued to partner with Habitat for Humanity, and in the Cornerstone project, which is set to start construction soon, we have 18 Habitat houses funded. Our last one is our really newest effort, and that's the Community Homebuyer Initiative, which is a partnership between SHRA, the Federal Home Loan Bank, the Sacramento Area Realtors Association, and Union Bank to provide down payment and closing cost assistance for home buyers, with special outreach and marketing to those communities of color that have lower home ownership rates. So far, we've gotten over 17 pre-approved for the down payment assistance. They're out scouring Sacramento to find a home that fits within their price range. Christine shared earlier about our activities in Home Key. We're looking both in the city and the county for opportunities to use hotels and motels to convert into housing for people experiencing homelessness. Last year, we were successful in being awarded one project through Project Home Key, that's La Mancha. And in 2021, we've submitted an additional application to have additional enhancements that include enlarging the community space, improving access. So it's enhancing what's already there, but the project is up and running, it's occupied, and people have moved from homelessness to having homes. And we've got 2 new applications that we're currently working on. Vista Nuevo, you all discussed that. That's the project in Natomas. And right across the street from SHRA is a project that we're considering. It's called Central Sacramento Studios, and we'll be including that in our application as well. I shared that we are engaged in portfolio management and compliance, and in 2020, there was $360 million of value in our portfolio, with 980 loans, or over 980. This year, we're at 380 million in the value and over 960 loans. But in addition to just monitoring, we're auditing, and we're monitoring the resident services at the property to ensure that what was stated is actually being provided. In addition, we're also processing loans on existing subordination or refinancing for our single family homes, and we're completing audits for the California Debt Limit Advisory Committee, better known as CIDLAC. We're also looking at asset management, and I shared that we're moving some of the assets out of the ownership of the public housing and into the ownership through development affiliates. All of these affiliates are staffed by members of SHRA plus others from outside SHRA. But some of the projects that you may already be familiar with, Sierra Vista, Centerview, and Washington Plaza, those were our first projects to be redeveloped with an affiliate, better known as SHRA. But there are numerous projects that are listed here for a total of 1,247 units. All of those are still affordable. They're still reaching the same populations that they were always intended to, but this allowed us to find resources to rehabilitate the properties that would not have been available through other sources. Speaking of other sources, we've got a new source for affordable housing here in the city. Unlike anything else, it's called Marisol Village. On your left, you see an actual photo of the project already under construction. On the right, it's the site plan for the project in its completion. We currently got block B and E under construction, but we've got some recent accomplishments that we want to highlight. A $1.8 billion green infrastructure grant that's allowed us to put in the community parking garden that will be completed next month. And at some point, I know we got social distancing, but this is one where we may be able to do a tour at some point because you'll want to see what's going on. Because it's not only just the park or the housing, but there are community projects that are highlighted here, including a new transit station. Looking forward to 2022, we've got 2 more very important phases to complete the financing and move toward construction. And in 2022, we're going to welcome back residents. We said that those who would like to come back, that they would have the first right of refusal and opportunity. And we've already begun talking to those residents about units that may meet their current needs and anticipating moving in, beginning in 2022, at least February and March starting. The Promise Zone. The Promise Zone is currently coordinated by Julius Austin, and the activities here are numerous, far too numerous to even highlight in this format. But these are some of the highlights of the project. We gave away 30,000 books to kids to help during COVID and stopping the summer reading loss. We're working with the Sustainable Communities Collaborative in actually doing training and job placement in partnership with SMUD. And so those projects are listed here for your review. Celia gave you a very detailed presentation on the action plan that highlighted projects and accomplishments in 2021 for both the city and the county. But here are some projects that are highlighted. We're also, in addition, looking at infrastructure projects and facility improvements, both in the city and the county. We talked about our home repair program. And in addition to home repair, we're also funding safety net programs that include Meals on Wheels and emergency shelters. Our revenue in 2020 is anticipated from the county in being 6.2 million, and in the city, 6.5 million. We've also benefited from CARES funding, or COVID Aid Relief and Economic Security Act. And both the city and the county received resources that were able to, 1, help house the homeless, 2, establish the rental assistance program and outreach and rehousing. So from the county, we received 21 million, and from the city, 18 million. All of those funds are really directed to helping mitigate the impact of COVID-19. Our development department has been incredibly busy. We've not slowed down because of any pandemic. For the county, the total dollars dispersed across the programs is 27.5 million. In the city, it's 25.6 million. And through our mortgage revenue bonds, we've issued over 211 million for a total of $316 million of funding that has gone both to the city and county projects to increase housing opportunities, and those services which support those who occupy that housing. We've gotten over 3,571 units in single family and multifamily housing that we've supported. And when we talk about that monitoring for the 55 years and more, we've actually looked at over 2,000 units, monitoring one, the condition of the units, and two, the eligibility of the residents who live in those units. So at SHRA, in the development department, we've been busy, we've made great progress, and we continue to change lives. We have a phenomenal team and phenomenal staff, and without their continued commitment and drive and support, we've not been able to accomplish all that's been done. That concludes my presentation. We are available for any comments.
All right, looks like Commissioner Boyd has his hand up first.
Thank you, Chair. To Executive Director Dozier, I would like to first ask, how soon can we get rid of Tyrone Roderick Williams' name on everything SHRA? Just kidding. For those of you who don't know, fantastic congratulations to Brother Williams here, now Executive Director down in the city of Fresno, doing
Barry, you're still in Michelle's thunder.
All of it.
Oh, let me put the genie back in the bottle. Just disregard all of what I just started to say, except the part about removing Tyrone's name. Just kidding. Fantastic work in the presentation and what is being accomplished throughout Sacramento, which has been accomplished throughout Sacramento through SHRA, and Marisol Village is just kicking behind and taking names. I did have a quick question. I know you've told me this before, Deputy Executive Director Williams, the Promise Zone and or what is the other one? It's the Promise Zone.
Oh, there's the Promise Zone and then the Opportunity Zones. Is that what you were suggesting? Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Which one has the end date, or do both just continue and there isn't a danger of a closure date?
Both have end dates. The Promise Zone is a 10-year initiative. And so it ends in 10 years. Now, we got our designation in 2015 due to a lot of adjustments. That date was reset in 2017. So from 2017, we've got 10 years of the Promise Zone work. Now, the Opportunity Zones is really based on the Treasury Department's rules and guidelines. And based on an investment in an Opportunity Zone project, you either have a 5-year or a 7-year. And that's based on tax credits that are afforded the investors.
Thank you with that. And so in regards to the Opportunity Zone here in Sacramento of years left, where's that, not a barometer, but where's that meter sitting now? Sacramento is sitting comfortable with another 2, 3, 4, 5 years, or did I miss a little bit? Is it in regards to if we have a project, let's say that comes out today, then we'll get a window of 3, 4, 5 years?
No, the timeframe was really established at the beginning of the zone. So the goal was to get as much investment early on as possible and use that as an incentive to get early on investment. Those dates have not moved. So if I remember correctly, the Opportunity Zone was established in 2017 or 2018. So the clock is ticking. That has not been reset. So any of those investments would still have to comply with the original timeframes that were submitted.
Okay, so that was both the Opportunity and Promise Zone, roughly 2017 start date, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, the Opportunity Zones, I think they came out in 2018. The legislation, I think, was 2017. But I can provide you the details on that so that we're not guessing.
No, that's close enough, just so the window wasn't closing quickly here by year's end or by next year's end. It is all I was alluding to. And with that, thank you again. Executive Director, almost messed it up again. Dozier, sorry. Let me shut up and we'll get to your report.
Okay, I see Cecile has her hand up also.
Thank you so much, and thank you for the report. It was really, it's very impressive, all of the work that's being done. And this was a really great presentation. I did have one thing, and I think it's on slide number 12, where you talk about the federal programs and the annual highlights.
Yes.
And under the revenue, are those totals correct? Because that doesn't look correct to me. You got 6 million under county, and then down below you got 3 million. That's at least going to be 9.
You are correct that we need to adjust that number. So the total is the total of all of those in the column. So it would really end up being closer to 10 when you total.
Yeah, that's what I kind of thought, and I'm sure you would.
And we all looked at it. None of us got it.
Every time I presented an audit report, I swear I looked at it 50 million times and I found the mistake when I was doing the presentation. So I understand.
So there's more.
It's adjusting the right way.
Not 6.2 million, but closer to over $10 million on the county side.
Yeah. So
thank you. Thank you.
I kind of thought that one. Yeah, I think the other one is off to the city one too. So you might
we can adjust those numbers and resend that out if you'd like.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. That was it. Just that little something. So
every commissioner has a duty to fact check the agency. So any other comments? Well, we'll move on to the executive director's report then.
Okay, so under the executive director's report, I did want to communicate to the commission about Mr. Williams. Unfortunately, it's very bittersweet. We're excited for him and his new opportunity. He will be moving on and moving up. He will be the CEO of the Fresno Housing Authority, effective November 1st. So he will be with us through the 19th. So this will be his last commission meeting. And I just can't say enough about the opportunity to work with Mr. Williams. It's been an absolute joy. I think it's been 7 years. So 7 years ago, I was looking for someone in this role. And I was in DC and he was on the East Coast. So we were able to meet there, interviewed him. He came out, he wowed the staff, and he's been doing that ever since. So we are so happy for him and excited about this new opportunity. But you know, it's like I said, bittersweet, very, very hard. We here at SHRA work very closely together. We always talk about our organization like family because we spend more time here with our our coworkers than we sometimes do with our own family. So you do get to know and to really just have very good and deep relationships with all the team because everything's done via team. And Tyrone has just been outstanding. I have appreciated him greatly. He has filled in the gaps on all kinds of things and just taken it to a whole nother level for our agency. So he will be sorely, sorely missed. And it will be very, very difficult, but I'm trying to stay upbeat because I don't want to get too mushy about this, but I do. I know. Both be up here. Don't go. But we are just thrilled for him in terms of this opportunity. So I always continue to say to all my employees that I'm here to help them realize their best. And if that is here, then that's great. If it's somewhere else, then that's fine too, because we're all the better for the time that he has spent here. So we are wishing him the best. We're gaining a colleague, in terms of another CEO at another agency that we can always call on and compare notes and really, who knows, we may collaborate on something in the future. But I just want to wish him well with his new venture, and thank you for all your hard work.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Well,
Okay, let's line up. Gail, you go first.
So who are you replacing over there?
The former CEO is Preston.
Preston Prince?
Prince. He was there for 14 years and he's moved on to Santa Clara. So he's still in the CEO role, just a different city.
I might know Preston. So, good guy. So, cool. Well, congratulations for sure. And if Naro ever gets to meeting again in person, maybe I'll get a chance to see you again there.
Very good. I look forward to it.
Okay. Everybody want to raise their hands? I'll let you talk. We'll start with Tajabu.
Okay, I got a big attitude about this. How dare you, Tyrone? No, say it isn't so. Do we have a say-so about it?
I don't know. This is up for discussion by a vote of the commission. This is not an action item.
Okay, dang, congratulations, Tyrone. I wish you all the best, you and your family. Okay. We'll miss you.
Thank you.
All right. Barry, you're next.
Thank you, Chair. Congratulations again, Brother Williams, and my apologies for letting the cat out of the bag. But with that said, I've actually been holding it in for a while now, wanting to call Tyrone, but I wanted to say it to him at least video-wise versus being in person and versus being over the phone, since we can't be in person. So yeah, Brother Williams, like I said, I've been holding it in because I wanted to call you like, oh, dude, right on. But I do believe I congratulated you on the LinkedIn site. But
yes, you did, sir. As only you can.
Hey, keep it real. Let me stop. But with that said, fantastic. Fresno is just wow. They're getting a true diamond. And even for the short time that I've been on the commission, just 2 years, as of August, a month and a half ago, the amount of information that comes at you from this commission, it's like, holy Toledo. In regards to the presentation that Tyrone just gave, some of us still may be looking at it like, what did he just say? And what does that stand for? Oh, wait, hold on. Where's my cheat notes in my glossary? But the information that he puts forward, that the entire SHRA puts forward, is fantastic. And Tyrone being there being there to answer questions I have over the last 2 years has been just outstanding, because truly some of the language, I'm like, yeah, explain that to me again. And as I've asked tonight, where again, I've stated this wasn't the first time I've asked about the promise zone and opportunity zone. And thank you for Mr. Williams for not saying, dang, dude, can't you remember? But again, it is a lot of information, and Tyrone is a unending well of information for any of you if you have a question. I mean, truly, he comes up with stuff that you're like, where did you get that from? And in closing, Tyrone, if you would tell us all again, one of the new board seats that you are on there in San Francisco, to which you let the city of Sacramento know in regards to home loan availability. What is the name of that, the board and the program?
It's the Federal Home Loan Bank Affordable Housing Advisory Council.
And so with that, we can all watch this meeting on in the archives and go to that, get the information from that and spread it amongst those, if you know anyone looking to purchase a home, the opportunities of monies from that entity that most folks didn't even know existed. Thank you again for that, Brother Williams, and congratulations again, and I'll let the rest of the floor go. Thank you again, brother.
Sam, looks like you're about to say something. Go ahead.
Nothing that Barry hadn't already said, but I'll keep it short. Tyrone, you've worked with most of the, besides your work at SHRA, you've done yeoman's work in this region. And Lachelle has given you that birth. And in a real sense, Lachelle has birthed you to be this new CEO. And so I am so happy for you, as all of our board members are. You're passionate about your work. You're knowledgeable about your work. You care sincerely about people. And you're a real role model in times when there's so few people of color in leadership positions. You and Lachelle are bright and shining stars in those spaces. And this is an area that really impacts the low income and people of color. And so it's a real, how do I say it? Don't take it lightly, because it's God's work. And so, may your tomorrows be better than your todays. And we wish you the best.
All right. Anybody else? Well, once again, congratulations. Definitely one of the people who brought the most energy to that job. Brought a lot of energy to the agency. It's been good to have you around.
I'd just like to say thank you to all of you all, those who are new and those who have been around for a while. But I just want to say how appreciative I am, first and foremost, to Lachelle, because Lachelle gave me an opportunity to be here. And there is no substitute for that. She is a phenomenal leader. And I have watched her just in awe of her wisdom and her skill at navigating all kinds of challenges and seizing opportunities. The other is our staff. There is no staff like the SHRA team. They are the most knowledgeable, most committed. You talk about passion. We express passion in different ways, but every one of them oozes passion. I think that's one of the requirements for working at SHRA is passion. If you don't have anything else, you need passion. And they have years of experience and dedication. So it is an honor for me to be at this agency. And you are right, Sam. There is no way I'd be prepared to move to Fresno or anywhere else had it not been for Lachelle Dozier giving me this opportunity to serve on the executive team. And I will be forever grateful for her kindness and the team's commitment to my leadership. Thank you all.
We'll take care of Lachelle in your absence, Tyrone. Don't worry.
All right.
Oh, thank you, Tyrone.
Anyone else? Anything else, Lachelle?
No, I think that's,
It is just a few minutes before 8 o'clock. There's nothing I have on my chair's report that warrants running any later than we already are. We're keeping IT staff working late tonight, along with Lachelle and Tyrone. So, comments from commissioners, etc. If none,
I think Commissioner
Barry,
Boyd.
your hand up.
Yeah.
Thank you, Director, and thank you, Chair. Just very brief to the earlier conversation in regards to the adjustment of time. I thank Chair Morgan for bringing up the fact that the residents of Sacramento, mainly for what this commission is for, are those who are freer during the daylight hours than the evening hours. And I would like to keep it as the hours now or later for everyone to take place, but at the same time, I'm not stuck in cement on that, and adjustment to an earlier time to accommodate those who are the recipients for which SHRA is there for, I am fine with. And with that, I was, I forgot what commission I was sitting on today, and I was actually thinking of a different commission that I'm fortunate to sit on, to where the engagement comes from those who are the 9 to 5 residents that would need more time to get home. So with that, I am flexible in regards to adjusting time, but keeping in mind when we do go back in person, if that happens, if we're all required to be in person only, the adjustment of hours for those who currently commissioners that work the 9 to 5. But anyway, we'll all work this out. Thank you.
So we're not going to bring it back up for a vote today. So you're next.
My question is, when would the time change go into effect and when it's approved? How much time would last between the approval and the effective date? And if we prepared to inform, how we would inform everyone of the time change when it's taken effect, if it takes effect?
Well, there's a couple of ways. We could make it effective immediately, or we could make it start the first of the year. We're voting on it. We can make that decision. So we're not voting on it tonight now, though. So that would be something we want to think about, is when would a good transition time be, and make that part of the motion when it takes place.
Okay.
All right, with that, seeing nobody jumping up and down, seeing no hands up. Okay, Sam wants to talk.
That's the proverbial goodbye.
I was going to snag you with it, though.
Yeah,
with
my
that,
stomach.
meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody.